Henry must often have been tempted to close the whole show down. What could he make of a wife who could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on fish? When the attacks of insecurity came on her, Dorman was always the person Grace landed on first. Dorman might be sitting in his apartment, staring at 2 traffic tickets he didn't have the money to pay, when Grace would call and demand the $200,000 he owed her, now. One of these fits of financial panic occurred while I was in New York on a buying trip. Grace called Dorman and told him to get over there with the money, quick. One reason to go for Dorman was that while he might not have $10 in his pocket, he always had stuff. Chinese coins or Mayan artifacts. The Mayan pieces were mostly fakes, but no one knew that at the time, except, of course, the faker. Dorman was still attracting every trader in the region. One day he bought something like 1,900 lithograph stones. To do what with, no one can say. This time, with me out of town, Dorman wandered over to his mother's with some excellent Texana, letters from Sam Houston, Stephen F. Austin, and the like, most of them addressed to the commandant of the port of Galveston. These documents were of the first importance, dealing as they did with the Texans' effort to free themselves from Mexico. Grace herself wouldn't have known a Stephen F. Austin letter from a possum, but she did know that the documents must be pretty valuable because Dorman had taken them to Yale and offered them to Archibald Hanna, the librarian most likely to purchase high-end Texana. Archibald Hanna turned them down, very possibly because he knew where they ought to be. The pile of documents Dorman was prepared to give his mother as collateral were indeed very valuable. There was just one catch. According to the reference books, the whole lot belonged in the Rosenberg Library in Galveston. Dorman David, it must be admitted, was a gullible man. If Charlton Heston walked up to him with a piece of rock with 10 Commandments scratched on it, Dorman would not be the one to question their authenticity very long. He would buy the rock and figure it out later. I don't pretend to know the truth about those Galveston documents. I don't know how they made their way from the Rosenberg Library to the great room at the Bookman, but I did know that we had stumbled into a huge crisis. We had a great number of documents on our hands that were very probably stolen. Obviously, we could not sell them. Grace was horrified, no doubt envisioning Henry's wrath when he discovered that another $200,000 had flown out the door. It was at this juncture that I left the Bookman.